Happy lunch hour, guys. Okay, another one from outside. So I wanted to do this video because quite a few of you have asked me here in the last week or so about how I'm doing my raised beds, or in my case, improving them. And so I kind of wanted to show you some different things that I've done so you can get an idea what's going to work best for you. Now, there are a multitude of materials you can make raised beds out of. I mean, you could use rocks, you could use old logs, you could use railroad ties, dimensional lumber, stones, I mean, concrete blocks, you name it, okay? But I want to show you some of the pros and cons to some of the different ones, because I've actually got quite a few of the different ones here. So let's start here, okay? And if I flip this, this is one, I'm up in one garden here, that I made out of dimensional lumber with 2x6s, and it worked fine for 2 years, but I don't know if you can see too well, but on that corner right there, you can see it's already pulling apart. The wood's rotting where the screws went in, and yeah, this was treated lumber. The boards are now tipped. So while it's good for a quick, inexpensive way of making a raised bed, it's not something that's going to last long. Now, depending on where you are, where I am, obviously it's very humid. People down south have problems with termites. I don't seem to have that problem, but I get a lot of moisture. And again, you're talking about a garden bed here, so you're constantly keeping the sides of those beds wet. Now, like I said, good inexpensive way to do it, but you need to plan on having to redo it every, let's say 3 to 5 years, depending on where you are. So if I walk along, I'll show you the next one. That one was basically 2x6s. So depending on what kind of slope you're on or whatever, you know, 2x12s, 2x8s, 2x10s, whatever you're using, will work fine. And remember, you know, you need to have a good depth of good soil, you know, at least 8 inches, but preferably down to 16. And as I said yesterday, once the roots get to the clay, forget it, they're done. So, and this one, I'm going to show you from this side because it's a little better. This one, let me flip over, was made out of treated 6x6s. Now, this one has held up tremendously better. This one has now been in since we moved in the house. So this one's in for 3 years. This will be, what, 19, 20, 21. This will be its 4th year. And the 6x6s, again, treated, are holding up great. I think because there's no balance to them or anything. I mean, they're 6x6. But they've done quite well. Yes, they're going to be more expensive than dimensional lumber, but definitely something that is a step up from the 2x to do something here. Okay, so this would be much more of a good idea. All right. So let's take a stroll over to where I'm working on here lately, and I'm going to show you a couple of different ideas as we cruise on down. Let's take a look at what we got. Now, a lot of you have seen Prepper Nurse 1, Ed's videos, and Ed's got a bunch of garden beds that he made out of cinder blocks. Love the cinder block idea. It's great. Okay, and I'm going to show you this real quick. But here's what you got to do with cinder blocks. Just let me get this off first. There we go. All right, flip. All right, so here's how you're going to want to stack your cinder blocks. You still need to do a running bond pattern, just like you would do with, you know, bricks in a house or something like that, okay? Because when you get the corners, you know, that way you can have everything attached. I don't think I'm giving anybody rocket science there when I'm saying it. The catch with cinder blocks is you're going to need to use either concrete or landscape adhesive to glue the cinder blocks together. Because if you don't, the pressure from the dirt, the rain, the whatever, is going to do that to you. And you're going to wind up with your garden all messed up. So certainly you need to adhere them to each other somehow. Personal thought, cinder blocks are a pretty economical way to do it. If you've got good concrete skills, do that, because the landscape adhesive can get a little expensive. But certainly this would be something to do that it's a do it once, never have to worry about it again. And that was one of the things Mrs. P and I looked at when we were building the gardens that we are now, or upgrading the gardens we are now, for the simple reason is, as we get older, the last thing I'm going to want to do is have to redo the gardens and, you know, go out and buy more lumber if we can get it. Okay, remember, there's the other thing. If you can get it, but I don't want to ever have to redo these things. And using concrete's not going to wear out. It's, you know, nothing of the sort. But the way we chose to do it, and I'll flip over here, is with garden stone, okay? Or garden blocks, or landscape blocks, or retaining wall blocks, or whatever you want to call them, okay? The reason why we chose these, obviously, besides the fact that they look a little nicer than cinder block or whatever, was because of the way they are made, okay? And I'm going to try to, let's see if I can show this to you here. I'll put one down here. If you look on the edge of this block, right there in the center of the picture, there's a lip on the block of it, okay? And so when you stack it, you're going to stack it with the lip such as so in the back, and it grabs onto the blocks below. So any pressure from the dirt coming outward will keep the wall standing. It's not going to twist anywhere or push over like I showed you with the cinder. So the advantage to doing this is I don't have to buy all the landscape adhesive, and for just this garden it would have been ridiculously expensive. Okay, yes, the landscape blocks are smaller than the cinder blocks. Cost-wise, they're slightly more expensive, but then when I add in all the landscape adhesive, it would have come out to about the same price. So we decided to go this way. And yes, with the concrete blocks, I could do, or with cinder blocks, I could have done concrete. I've had my experience with concrete on the smokehouse, and that was a 4x4 square. I'm not a concrete guy. It's just not something I'm good at. This would have taken me all summer to do this. This worked a lot easier for us. The other advantage, and I'll show you this, because we're on a slope, like I said, not a hill or anything, but I mean, hell, my house is on the side of a mountain. Okay, so I've got a slope here. This is the 40x24 garden. But I've got a slope here that from one side to the other probably drops, what, 3 feet? So we were something like this. And we took it and staircased it down. And so it comes out, it looks nice, and we can do something like that. But again, this was all dry stack. So Mrs. P was able to come out and, trust me, do a ton of help for me to get all this done. Like I told her, I mean, you know, this is so far 3 days worth of work that we've got on here. She's easily saved me a day. So I am forever indebted to her for her help here. But this is very easy to do. The hardest part is leveling the ground so you keep your bricks level. But if you've got a shovel and a level, you can do this. I mean, hell, the kids can help. I mean, they can be 6 years old. As long as they're strong enough to pick up a block, they can help you, because once you get the first one in, it's just stacking blocks like Legos. But I wanted to show you guys some different ideas, because a lot of you have asked, how to go about building raised beds and materials to use and stuff. Like I said, you could do it out of old tires. I mean, find old, car tires, stack them up. You got a great place to grow potatoes. Find tractor tires, something like that, that are huge. Now you've got more of a bed size bed. But, use what you have. But the one thing that I found is it's going to be different depending on your climate. Wood will probably work a hell of a lot better, say, out in the desert. Okay, you don't have the rain, you don't have the problems like that. In the wetter areas of the country, not so much. But all depends on what you're willing to do, how much you want to spend or can spend now, and how much you're willing to do it again later on down the road. So, just thought I'd share that one with you for a few requests that I got. Have a good afternoon. Pinball out.